Welcome back to the Rock and Iron Experience. This is Jessica Vaughan. She is one of my good friends here in Denver and probably one of the best people I've met, actually, since I've moved up here.
Such a great compliment.
Had a lot of fun. We really actually met on my birthday.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because of the thing. Yeah, because of that video, and it was your birthday, and we were all like, oh, happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So we did meet on your birthday. So
our
you're welcome.
is a
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. But yeah, no, thanks for being here. I really wanted to have you on because I find you to be an incredibly interesting person.
Well, thank you.
You have thoughts and ideas and things that I hope to help you with as we go through, and already helped you with a little bit of stuff. And,
yep.
You're kind of a badass and a rock star, and
thank you. I try.
all sorts of fun things. And the purpose of the podcast is to bring value to people, whether they're sorting through their fitness goals, sorting through their entrepreneurship goals, and then photography and cinematography. But we're going to stick with fitness and entrepreneurship probably would be my bet. We might venture into photography.
Sure, but I'm not really a photographer. I've had pictures taken of me.
Yeah, and I think they're amazing.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, so that's kind of the purpose. We want to help people out who might be struggling with something, or help them maybe hear something that they've heard in 1,000 ways before, but this time it's just said a particular way and it sticks. And just one person. We're looking for one. We're looking to change one life today.
I'm into that.
But I'm going to start with you. Who are you, Jessica Vaughan? What do you do? Who are you? What sort of badassery are you up to?
Well,
I'm going to shrink back.
Hi, I'm Jess. Well, right now I am really focusing on, I guess my overarching theme right now is trusting myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really fucking hard to do. It's not an easy thing to do, especially when you've been doing one thing for so long. And then you take a risk and do something that really could flatten you on your ass if you don't succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you're I've been so used to doing this one thing, and that one thing has been stripping.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been stripping for the last 5.5 years now, I think about.
That's a minute. That's longer than I've been in any job ever.
I mean, it's my longest standing adult career. Let's be honest. It's actually my longest standing career at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 years is a long time, and I remember getting into it, and I was in college, and I was trying to pay for college, whether you believe them or one of the stories. There's lots of stories, that was mine, getting into it, and it helped, and I was making a lot of money, but it doesn't really matter how much money you make, as long as if you don't know how to manage it, you could make $1 million in a day and it's gone the next. And so but I mean, that I've been doing that for a really long time, and I'm still doing it, and I'm still kind of for basically up until about 6 months ago, I was all right, I'm going to go down to one night a week, 2 nights a week, whatever. Just because I'm when you are so used to that lifestyle, or whatever lifestyle you've created for yourself, it becomes easy. And even if you're unhappy as fuck, can we cuss? Is that cool? Okay, cool.
You can cuss all you want.
Because I was going to say, we might not be able to continue this if we can't cuss.
No, I can't.
I'm a sailor.
Just pop out.
Cool, sweet. But yeah, I mean, whenever you get into this routine of doing something, regardless of if it makes you happy or not, and most times I find that people aren't happy when they're in their stuff. But they're just doing it because of whatever, money, lifestyle, routine, and that's kind of what I've found myself in. And I'm just yeah, the money's good, and I've always gone back and forth between loving it and hating it. It's like this weird
I can imagine that
yo-yo.
it takes a little bit of a toll.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it gets to the point where you have like a really good night and you make like over $1,000 in one night, and then the next night you make like $50, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I'm taking my clothes off for money and I'm getting paid shit, like less than I would at a restaurant. You know, so it's like this, it's super inconsistent, not, you know, and then there's, you know, I've had the best and worst things said to me in that place.
Oh, I can imagine.
I've had the best and worst things done to me in that place. Like,
I can imagine.
And all not by, you know, all just by me, like, not paying attention enough. And people trying to take an extra inch, you know, or an extra mile, whatever that phrase is. And so, like, I've been going through this, like, and then, you know, I finally came to a point where I was like, I want to leave stripping, like, loving it. Like, I don't want to feel, like, pity or sad or whatever. And so, like, I finally got to this place where I was like, oh, I felt so empowered and felt so sexy. And I was like, I want to teach other women how to do this. And I'm just kind of still finding what that means for myself, because I've been told by a lot of people that that's a gift that I have, and I'm just like I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, teach women how to be sexy. I'm like, how though? I'll figure it out, I'm sure, at some point.
I've got faith in you.
And then but when I started dancing all the way, sorry, I could just like talk.
No, you're good.
I'm
keeping a mental list because there's a lot I want to unpack. So
cool.
We'll go back.
So, I got to, you know, when I first started dancing, I was like, okay, 5 years, like, I'm done. I even told people this, like, I was like, I'm going to stop dancing after 5 years, and it's 5.5 now. And, like, I don't know, I guess I'll just go into it, but, like, almost 5.5 years to the day, I was hit by a car, and you know this, as a pedestrian, and that kind of just, like, fucked my shit up. Like, hardcore, because I was like, you know, like, and kind of like we were talking earlier, like, like, every single day I think about the fact that I could have been killed, and how lucky I was that I wasn't. But then it also goes to the, like, oh, am I doing everything I'm supposed to be? Am I happy? Am I, you know, and it kind of came back to this whole thing where dancing doesn't fulfill me. Like, it pays my bills, I feel great, I feel empowered, I feel sexy, I feel very strong and independent and, like, very feminist, even though that's another word I don't really like using right now, because that's fucking misused as well. But like literally the day that I, like, posted a photo on Instagram empowering myself, I got hit by that car, and I'm, like, on my way walking to work. And so I'm like, there's something for me here that I need to look at and understand, and it just is like, I'm not happy. Like, I'm happy when I'm impacting people and when I'm teaching people, even, like, the small little tweaks and mechanics of how to lift weights. Like, I've always been passionate about lifting weights.
And you're a personal trainer. And
I'm a personal trainer, and a nutritionist and a yoga teacher, whatever. But, like, I've always been really passionate about learning about the body. Because I think it's so fucking cool, like, the things that we can do, and how, especially now, I'm learning how everyone's different. And so that just kind of brought me back to this place where I'm like, I just want to help people, and I want to, like, help people be better for themselves, and so that they can live their best life. Like, because dancing is a very vain career, and not even, like, we're a bunch of bitches that that are just, like, self-involved. Honestly, like, I have the most authentic and amazing friends through that job, but at the same time, you have to think about yourself a lot, and not only, and it's, like, wide spanning from the food that you eat to the rest that you get to the exercise that you participate in. Like, you know, it's a very selfish career, and I was like, yeah, it's just not fulfilling me anymore. And so now I'm in this place where I just, like, I want to fucking help people, and I want to make some real shit happen for myself and for others, like, because I've kind of realized that I have a gift of teaching, and regardless of what that ends up looking like, I'm honestly not 100% sure right now, but, like, I know it's there, and so it's, like, that whole thing of, like, coming back to that theme of, like, okay, I have to trust this, like, I have to be willing to take steps, because, you know, I could quit everything right now and go work at the club and make $100,000 this year, like that, you know, I could make $2,000 this week. Like, you know, just like quitting everything and going into that. But I'm like, no, I have to take the pay cut. I have to understand that following my passion and my journey and what I feel inside and trust what I feel inside is true and real and my path, like my purpose.
Yeah.
So
I think,
did that answer the question, or did I just like?
No, that 1,000,000% answered the question. It's great.
I feel like I like. Okay, we're back.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to take a detour.
You know, I'm really good at that.
That's a life lesson. Sometimes you have to take a detour.
That is a life lesson. Hashtag
life lessons. But going back, at the start of that, you were talking about people not liking their jobs, just being in routine and still doing it even though they hate it.
Yeah.
85% of people in the world hate their job.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy.
85% of people don't want to get up and go do whatever they're doing to pay their bills.
It's so crazy because we spend so much time at our
least
job.
33%.
Yeah.
At least.
Like, so much time at your job, and to know that, like, I mean, and I've been there, like, I've lived it, and I'm just like, fuck, I hate this. Like, I think we've all been there. Like,
I've done this really bad thing personally where, what was I? I was 21 when I started my first business.
Okay.
It was an automotive company, and then I ended up opening up at a brick and mortar location, and then I started doing events from it. And then that phase of my life passed, and then I was like, okay, well, guess I'll go get a big boy job. I lasted 9 months at the first one, 1 year at the second one, opened up my second business, did a couple of events, made some money, and then back to a big boy job because it's stressful. You have to have you can't be soft.
No.
Like if you can be discouraged, you got to get over it. You're not going to know where your rent's going to come from. You're not going to know where your
and
your
that's
meals
where
are
like that
from.
Trust piece comes in, and you're like, I have no idea. Like that little emoji that's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like that's where that, you know, it's easy to have like that 9 to 5 thing going on. Like I think about it all the time now too. I'm like, I could just quit everything and go get a 9 to 5 and have like health insurance. God, that would be fucking nice.
As a rock climber, when I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a really hard move. If I get hurt,
right?
Yeah.
Especially after I got hit by that car, and I'm like, I don't have health insurance.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like paying for everything out of pocket, is like, fuck, man, like. It's a lot. It's intense, and it's like, but it's at the same time I go back to that of like that wouldn't make me happy. Like there's something about not knowing where my next meal is gonna come from that like drives me to succeed, which is like it's backwards but also forwards.
Survival instinct. You have to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
And I can't. And like we were talking earlier, I just recently had a job thing that would have pulled me a little bit away from doing my own thing, which I'm like, things are starting to finally roll with it. I've got a couple different podcast clients. I've got a couple different regular video clients, regular photography clients.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's still small, and it sucks, and I still need to find about triple what I've got. Yeah. But at the same time, every time I think, oh, I could just go get another financial analyst job, or I could go do that. It's just, I could do that. Or I could take piano wire and like wrap it around my hands until they start cutting and bleeding, because that might be better.
That is such an intense visual.
It's like you were saying, following your dreams is difficult, but
it's so fucking difficult.
You have to listen to yourself.
Yeah.
And recognize that, oh no, I'm legitimately unhappy because of my current situation, and legitimately I have to take actions to change it, because anything that's going on, anything that happens to me, doesn't matter. Life is all about alternatives.
Yeah.
I mean, for the rest of your life, you could be the girl who got hit by the car and then questioned whether or not she was happy with what she was doing, and that could be you. There's numerous terrible events that I've been through that, we'll go simple. I could be the kid that got bullied in school growing up his whole life, and that could be who I am.
Yeah.
Or that could be something that just adds on to
like,
the character
that
I am.
Yeah, just part of your story. And it's like, I feel like it's, you know, life, we have no control about what happens to us, but how we react to it.
Exactly.
And that's like, and now like the car, the dancing, all of that stuff it's just like, this is part of who I am, but it's not who I am, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes 1,000,000% chance. And I have to reset our cameras.
Cool, I want some water.
Come on, man. Life is definitely all about alternatives.
Yeah.
And whatever happens to you doesn't make you. What you decide to do about it makes you.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are you doing with fitness? You are a fitpreneur? Fitpreneur? There is a thing, and I don't know the word.
I mean, like I know like what you're circling. I wouldn't label myself that way.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, I kind of have a weird feeling about the entrepreneur word right now.
What is that weird feeling? Let's dive into that. What is your weird feeling about
All right, we'll come back to what I'm doing. And like, let me get on my soapbox real fast. Because I'm like, I'm a part of a couple of groups online that is supposed to help like entrepreneurs or whatever. And I'm like, anyone can be a fucking entrepreneur if you have like somewhat of a hot body, very little clothing, and an iPhone 10. Like,
So you're bothered by the fact that everybody right now has entrepreneur on their Instagram, and
I just
fronting.
and I've never, and this is totally my soapbox, and I mean I could give a fuck if people like me for it or not, but I'll just go.
That's why we're friends. Carry on.
But like I'm just like, man, like I love being someone that doesn't go with the crowd. Like I am a wolf, I am not a sheep. Like, and I like love that about myself, and that's something. And so like me being an entrepreneur right now is like so like, because I just want I want to be different, but also it's like everyone can do it. And I'm like watching these people in some of these groups, and they're just putting out like shit information, but because they're in like a little bit of clothing, and because they have like an iPhone Plus that takes really good photos or videos or whatever, and they know how to use fucking iMovie, they're like all of a sudden an entrepreneur. And I'm like, first of all, you're not even doing the correct form in your lift. You're not giving correct information. The supplements you use are fucking shit, which all supplements are shit, but I could get into that soapbox also.
We're going to have to come back. We're going to do a second episode with Jess.
You probably will need a lot of episodes with me if you want to hear all my soapboxes. But I mean, it's just like frustrating to me because it's like, these people aren't educating themselves. They just got skinny themselves, and then they think that they can make a business out of it. And then they're an entrepreneur, a fitrepreneur, or whatever the fuck. We'll figure it out. I'm going to figure that We're going to get, probably by the end of the episode, we'll be like, this is what it is. But like, it's so fucking frustrating to me because I am constantly educating myself. I have in-person clients, which a lot of these people don't. And in my opinion, if you're trying to make an online business of personal training, then you should know what personal training that you're doing, how it lands on a human fucking body in person, in action. Because you learn things there that you wouldn't learn online, even if someone's sending you a video. Yeah, technology is great with like all of the new things that you can do as an online personal trainer. But if you don't know, like if you're not there sitting with someone being like, oh, in a squat, your feet are pronating. So let's take your feet a little bit wider and turn your toes out a little bit, just because that's how your body mechanics work. Like all of these like fitrepreneurs that don't know shit about actual personal training, or how the human body works, or how people's bodies are different. They just know how their body reacted to what they did. It's like, and that's why it's so frustrating to me, because I'm like, you have literally no real world experience. You got skinny yourself. You don't even have a personal training certification, which that is also another soapbox I have.
In the instance that you're bringing up, if you present yourself as a personal trainer, you sell fitness products, such as personal training videos, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Is there recourse that people can have on you for not having a certification?
I'm sure there is, and I don't know if there's legal stuff that goes along with that. But I know for myself, as an in-person personal trainer at the facility I work at, I have to have personal trainer insurance. I have to have a certification of some sort. I have a bachelor's degree in sports conditioning and training, so I don't necessarily need the certification. I am working on one right now just because, again, I don't like to be like everyone else. And so I'm like, well, motherfuckers, fuck you. I have a four-year degree, and I'm going to get the best personal training certification there is, just to be, again, like, oh, like, stick it to the man. Because I'm like, this is, like, so I don't know if I'm sure that there could be. But then at the same time, like, I doubt it.
Yeah.
On the same token, because it's like, if I were to buy a program from you, and it was just like, oh, this is the program I did, like, how is that traceable enough that, like if I got hurt doing that program, like, that's not really on you because you weren't there. You know, okay. You just sold that to me. And then but then it could also go on the same token. So it's like, that's something I don't really know.
Interesting.
But also, like, again, if you don't have the education to back up what you're saying, why the fuck are you saying it?
Yeah. Yeah, that
just
is,
because someone else did?
I think that's another thing that just in general we all need to be cognizant of is the internet. I'm going to go to the digital marketing side of everything, my side of everything.
Yeah.
The internet is just exposing everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Not for it's not creating bad people. The habits aren't new. It's all been there.
Yeah.
The internet's just exposing it.
Yeah.
So if you say something like we're talking right now, this is going to go up on the internet. It's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
We're speaking our truth, so it doesn't matter. But if you're fronting, if you're saying things that you don't believe, if you're saying things that aren't true,
yeah,
it's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that people forget or don't realize or think is
totally
perfectly fine. I want a motorcycle so bad. I'm sure that got picked up on the mics, but there's a motorcycle that just went by, and I want one real bad. So let's circle back to what you're doing. Okay,
so off the soapbox now. Right now I am really focusing on growing my own business. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, like, I'm not 100% sure, like I said, what that looks like. There's something I love about in-person one-on-one, but there's only so much of that I can handle because
you're one human.
I'm one human being. And, you know, like, being someone's personal trainer or health coach, like, you are their coach. Like, you're there for them. You take on their energy. When I have someone for an hour, like, I'm really investing in who they are. Like, the programming, all of that stuff is, like, that's obviously there, and I truly believe the thing that's going to set me apart from personal trainers, because again, that's another thing, regardless of the online stuff, personal trainers are a dime a dozen. You can go anywhere and get a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. The quality and the relationship that you build is what sets you apart. And so that's why I really am focusing on my own education. Like, yeah, I'm doing that cert, but I also do other types of education to really make myself stand out. I'm trying to find what other personal trainers are not doing and then do that. And then just, like, really focusing on building a relationship with my clients, because that to me is, like, the most important thing, because I want my clients to trust me, and you can't do that unless you build a relationship with them. And when you build a relationship, that's not to say, let me talk about myself. That's like, what's going on with you? What do you need today? Like, I've had clients come in and be like, you know, I have a plan and a program set up for them, and then they're like, I just feel like shit today. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to detour, and we're going to focus on joint movement as opposed to heavy lifting, because, you know, you did this. And one of my biggest passions right now, and this is, like, my passion project that I go in and out of just because of time, really, is really helping women coordinate diet and nutrition and training to their hormone cycles. Because for so long, and any woman out there listening or watching or whatever, wherever this is going.
It's going to be listening and watching. And reading, because there'll be captions on it. So.
Oh boy, I can't wait to read those captions. But, like, for so long, women have been, like, kind of told that we're essentially small men. And, you know, that this program is going to work for you because you're this and this and this. And and as, I mean, we're all humans, we all, like, that is true to an extent, but, like, I'll be honest with you, if I have a woman that's, you know, in her PMS week right before her period, like, I'm not going to put her through the same training that I would put you through, because there are hormonal things happening and scientific hormonal things happening in her body that aren't happening in yours.
Yeah.
You know, or for example, like the first day of a woman's bleed, like they're usually tired as fuck. And if they're going to come to me on that first day in a one-on-one session, and this is just strictly in person, but if they're going to come to me, I'm not going to make them deadlift max. I'm not going to make, and so that's something that I feel like as personal trainers, we do need to be aware of when we're training women. And like, I feel like a lot of women come to personal trainers, especially male personal trainers, and they're not very aware of it.
I feel like, and this is just from being an athlete, not being a trainer. Mm-hmm. I've helped friends and that sort of thing. Like, hey, I'm looking to get into working out. But just in general, in all the gyms that I go to, because I go to weightlifting gyms, I go to climbing gyms, and all sorts of other things, I do notice more often that there are females with trainers as opposed to males.
It's usually that way because especially, I mean, and I don't want to blanket statement that because I don't know the statistics or anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if you think about it, like, women have been so intimidated by lifting weights for so long.
That's true.
And so it's like, well, I'll hire someone, and women are a lot more apt to be like, hey, I need help. Mm-hmm. And so they're...
we'll die. I don't need help.
I mean, women that aren't me, because I'm very much a man in that way, if we're going to gender it a little bit. But, like, I'm so fucking stubborn. Like, I'm like, I don't need help. And I could be, like, hanging off the mountain by my toe. I'm like, I'll figure it out. Like, it's fine.
It's fine. Gravity doesn't apply to me. It's great.
Don't worry. I'll figure out how to fly while I'm down here. But that's just me. But, I mean, it's, for what I've noticed and seen, too, more women hire personal trainers. Mm-hmm. And a lot of personal trainers are men. And it's... not to say that, you know, because obviously if you put anyone through a new strength training program or through a new regimen that they've never experienced before, especially strength training or resistance training, you're going to see a difference. Mm-hmm. But I think that disconnect comes when, like, women come in, like, PMS week or, you know, bleed week or ovulation week. Ovulation week, you're fucking strong as hell. Like, that's when you need to be doing your PRs, you know, because ovulation, your testosterone spikes.
Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of, like, again, detour. Back to what I'm doing is that's, like, my biggest passion is really helping women figure that out. Mm-hmm. My overall goal, obviously, like, I don't want to segregate my business into mostly women or men. But, I mean, even men, there are things that are happening depending on how much weight you carry and all that stuff with your hormones. But even so, I just want to make people feel good and feel confident in themselves. Like, that's one thing that stripping has given me is, like, I could give a fuck who sees me naked at this point. Mm-hmm. So, like, usually that's everyone's biggest fear is being in a room with naked in front of people, you know, and like
that's why we imagine
everyone else naked.
Everybody else naked, because imagine how embarrassed they are, so you're fine.
Which doesn't make sense to me because I'm like, if they were all naked and you're the one with clothes on, wouldn't you be the embarrassed one? But whatever. Whatever. But I mean, like, I want people to feel good in their skin because I ultimately feel if people feel good in their skin, then in general, they'll treat themselves better, they'll treat others better, and then it'll have this ripple effect where, like, the world is great, and we take care of the planet, and we take care of each other, and, you know, it's like, when we love ourselves enough and we take care of ourselves enough, that reflects in so many ways. And so that's really what I'm trying to focus on now is grow my business in that light of helping people feel confident in who they are and in their own skin, regardless of what that skin may look like. Or what the skin covers. So
that's a wonderful, noble purpose.
Thank you.
And I know you're building out several different aspects and you're looking at things, and because you are going to build out an online side of it too, right?
That's my big goal.
Yeah.
It's my biggest pain point because I am not good at that stuff. I'm not. Like, I've been trying to build a website for, like, over a year at this point.
Yeah. We need to sit down and look at that.
I will take any help.
You and I sit down and look at that.
Because I'll get started, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know what, like, and for a really long time, I have not thought of myself as creative, so I think that's a little bit of why, but I've been understanding and learning.
You don't view yourself as
other
creative.
People did these. Other people did that.
Looking around, and this is like the most decorated apartment I've ever been in. I know right now you see like a white wall behind us. I've been gifted a lot of beautiful art. But we've got like a crazy. Is that is that a drawing? Like charcoal drawing?
Yeah, but that's my friend did that.
Well, but you still have it here. So you have this...
I have an appreciation for art. I love beautiful art.
So, fun fact. Did you know NASA actually did a study of like 500 2-year-olds up until the time they were adults, 25.
Oh, wow. That's a cool study already.
Yeah. So, already a long study. But at 2 years old, 98% of the babies tested positive for being a creative genius. Mm. By the time they were 25, 2% of them did.
Which, like, for me, that totally makes sense because, you know, some of my history of growing up, like, I was told that I wasn't creative by people very close to me.
Well, we should kick them in the chest.
I mean, my parents. Good luck with that.
Sorry. Maybe a little. Mostly just embarrassed.
You know, everyone makes their mistakes.
It's true.
And parenting isn't easy, especially when you have a child like me.
Yeah. I can imagine you being a little terror.
Yeah, super independent little shithead. But at the same time, like, when you are told this stuff, you begin to believe it. And that's something that I'm beginning to break the mold of. You know, that painting right there is the first piece of art that I've done probably in my adult life.
Oh. Good job.
Thanks. But even doing that painting, I told the guy, I was like, if you need anyone to sit out during this, I'm totally cool with sitting out. And he, like, made me do it. And I was actually really appreciative that he did because it was something, I was like, you know what? I need to do art more. And then that has reflected into my business of, like, the more I'm creative outside of my business, the more I can get to be creative and have ideas inside my business. And I don't feel stuck.
Comfortable with it.
Exactly. I don't feel stuck. And it's like, oh, I have all these ideas, but I don't know how to do it. Whereas, like, when I've started doing some of this art stuff, I'm like, okay, I have this idea. And now this is how I'm going to do it. Like, learning how to work backwards and, like, being creative, like, completely plays a role in that. And that's something and a belief that I'm breaking down for myself. So
there you go.
For a long time I felt that way. I'm starting to not feel that way. I still feel it a little bit, but you know, old habits die hard.
after we start the game. So we were talking about creativity. Creative geniuses, letting it bleed into your business.
Yeah. I mean, well, because it's funny because you go through, like, school, and I mean, at least I did, and I'm like, you can be really good at your craft, like taking photos or
I try to
media
be good at that.
stuff, or, you know, you can be really good at the thing you do, but then putting a business into it is completely different. Like, being a business owner and being a personal trainer are two different things. And it's taken me a really long time to understand and learn that, because being a business owner means you're in charge of your finances, which I'm terrible at. Marketing, creative design, all of that stuff. Whereas, like, being a personal trainer, all you have to do is be a good personal trainer. Like, you just have to know what you're doing, and you have to be really good with people. That's it. And then
the fact that you appreciate that, I think, gives you a greater chance of success.
Well, I hope so.
That's my impression.
And I mean, and then that, going back to, like, my soapbox with the whole entrepreneur thing online, it's just like, they don't get either of that. You know, they don't take their time to educate themselves in the craft, but then they also don't understand that there's, like, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur is a totally different entity in and of itself, and you have to educate yourself on that as well.
Yeah.
Like, learning how to run a business. Like,
yeah,
because no one teaches you that shit.
I'm attempting to be in vlogging, because as we discussed, I hate being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I'm much better behind the camera and coaching people on how to be in front of the camera.
Even though, like, your Minute Mondays are amazing.
Where
did those go?
I need to start doing those.
They were, like, pretty consistent for a couple weeks, and then they died. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I've been wanting to step up the quality and use my DSLRs and, like, do a whole vlog thing. I've actually got one coming this coming Monday.
Yeah.
So it has a nice little B-roll sequence. It looks really pretty.
Cool.
I'm just trying to up my game on it, and it's really hard. It's harder for me to decide what I want to put out myself as opposed to, hey, I'm a life coach. Hey, I'm a personal trainer. Hey, I run a gym, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I understand all the mechanics, and I'm like, okay, well, cool. I can put you in a good light, and I know what you should be showing and what you should be talking about, what you shouldn't be talking about. But then it comes to myself, and I have such a broad interest in things and so many things that I want to do.
Yeah. Man, I feel that.
It's hard for me to nail that down.
It's really
hard. And like that's actually been like a really big personal struggle for me to figure out how I want to tell my truth.
Yeah. It's hard. It's not an easy thing to do.
It really, and what it comes down to for me is it goes back to the life is about alternatives. I've been hit by a car. Just let you have. It's not fun.
Woo!
It's not a good thing. Twinsies. I was 14.
On a bike or walking?
I was on a bike.
Okay.
I was 14 years old.
It's fucking crazy how many people have been hit by a car.
I got knocked out into oncoming traffic. I was on my bicycle. I was like 10 miles from home. I wasn't supposed to be out where I was. I got hit, knocked out into traffic. Isn't that how it always goes? Lady was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Wearing my sunglasses because they were on my head and they ended up under her car. So I got my sunglasses, rode home 10 miles on my bike with the wheels like in C's from where the bumper hit it. Got home. My mom's like, "What happened?" "Oh, I hit a rock." Because I couldn't let her know that I was out further than I should have been. And then, like, everything from, like, my shin up to my shoulder was bruised the next day. And, like, I was just bruised as shit.
Jesus Christ.
So, and, I mean...
Did she still believe that you hit the rock?
I don't know. That's a whole other, like...
It's a whole other
thing
journey.
to go into. And, I mean, family life, not pleasant in any way, shape, or form. I mean... pleasant in lots of ways, but there are lots of bad memories and lots of like domestic violence and all that sort of fun stuff. Definitely the kid that had problems making friends and like all that. And so the general thing that I like to put out, and the reason why I think you and I resonate, is grit. Yeah. Like you gotta be tough.
Oh yeah, you gotta be fucking tough.
Be polite, be nice. It doesn't matter what other people do or what has been done. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to take care of other people too. Yeah. And that is really hard to figure out. And then, I mean, the podcast is supposed to cover fitness, photography, fitness, photography, cinematography, and entrepreneurship. Yeah. It should be one thing, but I got it down to 4.
So. I mean, that's pretty good, I
feel. But yeah, and I remember coming into the gym and meeting you guys and doing the video for you guys. I was like, she's cool. So, and then, we had 2 photo shoots so far and chat with each other and like cheer each other on and all that sort of fun stuff.
Awesome.
So, it's because you're kind of awesome.
Thanks. Ditto that, my brother.
I do what I can. Do what I can. So one thing I like to do, and I always like to catch people off guard with this. Okay. So I like to give you the question of the day.
Oh, yay.
So the idea is, what is a question that you would like to ask of people that would force them to be introspective and thus find a way to improve themselves?
How are you better today than you were yesterday?
Okay. I like that. So think about that. Put it in the comments below. How are you better today than you were yesterday? Or if you don't feel that you are, how can you be better tomorrow? What can you dive in? What can you start doing to make a difference in your life? And all that sort of fun stuff. Recently, I've been hearing a lot of complaining about things that people can't help. Like, you can't help it, so don't worry about it. And
shit that doesn't really even matter.
Yeah.
Like, shit that doesn't even matter. It's like trivial fucking shit. Shit you don't need grit for.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. And then what you were saying earlier about how stripping isn't fulfilling you anymore. Yeah. How you make your money is more important than how much money you make.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And that's not mine. That's Gary V. It's Gary Vaynerchuk. I'd like to take credit for that. But
that's some good shit right there.
That's not me, but I feel like that applies.
Oh, it totally
very
does.
well to that.
Yeah, I mean, because money has an energy. Everything is energy, in my opinion. I mean, if you all could see my apartment, like I have stones and mantras and shit everywhere because I'm a yoga teacher, but I also like believe everything is energy, you know, and money has energy, and the way you receive it, there's an energy attached to it. And for a really long time, and like I said, I've gone through ups and downs and ins and outs of my dancing career, and for a really long time I associated money with abuse. And
I could believe that.
It's not an easy thing to say in front of 2 cameras and 2 mics. But like, you know, and there's a line where people think that, oh, well, you're doing this to yourself and all of this stuff. But, you know, the strip club is a very dark place for people that are, you know, nice business owners, good dads, good husbands, whatever. They come in and treat women like shit because they're sad and they're depressed. And it took me a really long time to understand that I had control over that. Because, and I mean, and that's why sometimes I counter with my belief of like, you don't have control what happens to you. And I'm like, well, in the strip club, I figured it out.
Figure that shit out. I know what's going on.
But for the longest time, I attached money to abuse. And now, you know, my goal was to leave the club not viewing money that way. And now I don't view money that way because I see that, like, there are telltale things that people do and say to you that you know how they're going to treat you. And so, I mean, it's so true, but it got to the point where I'm like, I'm not actually helping anyone with the money that they're giving me. Like, I'm making them horny and sending them on their way. Like, I'm really good at it. But, I mean, it's not something that fulfills me. Like, It fills my ego for sure. It makes me feel like a badass and like I am the sexiest chick in the world. But, like, guess what, folks? This shit's gonna fade. Like, and I'm gonna try my damnedest to maintain it for as long as possible. But also, like, coming to the whole, like, you know, late nights and sleeping and, you know, being up in that environment, like, you know, your circadian rhythm is a very important aspect of your health. Like, sleep is very, very important. And night workers have, like, statistics showing that they have higher risk of disease, fat gain, all of this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to be that statistic. And you know what? It's cool to wake up at 9 or 7 in the morning and, like, get shit done in the day.
5 in the morning.
Or, you know,
I like
for
to
crazies.
start my day when everybody's asleep.
I mean, I might get there eventually, but right now it's 7.
Oh, that's bad. Because I start my day when I think everybody's asleep, but because I work with business owners, I get text messages at 6:30 in the morning, and I'm like, what the
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
and that goes to building a good relationship.
Yeah.
They feel like it's okay to text me at that point in time, which is great.
It's awesome.
But
it doesn't
terrible.
mean you have to text back, though.
I don't. I try not to. I try not to. Unless it's like, hey, oh my God, I'm freaking out. There's something wrong with my YouTube video. Please fix it. Then, I mean, depending. Because I try to keep my schedule like 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah.
So there's always time.
Yeah.
So that's like, dude, you're not scheduling that for 13 days. Like, I'll get to it later.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think it's really important how... I mean, I'm learning and understanding that it is really important how we make our money.
Yeah.
You know, lawyers make a fuck ton of money, but sometimes they have to be really dirty to do it, you know? And I think that there's a stigma around money that makes people hate it. And I believed that for a very long time because that's what I was raised to believe. And so then I entered into the dancing world, and I was like, you know, I still hated money even though I was making a fuck ton of it. And now I'm like in this weird transition space where I've had the least amount of money I've ever had, but I'm chasing my dreams and I'm really happy. Stressed, but happy.
Stress is real, yo. The stress is real.
And like to know that I can have like a full day stacked with clients and people while keeping my clothes on and not having to worry about swatting people away from touching me. Even though I'm making less, it's like, there's something weirdly comforting about that because I'm helping someone achieve the best version of themselves.
You're doing something that makes you happy. You're serving people.
Yeah. And, so yeah, I mean, I think that quote by Gary Vee is like so spot on of, you know, what is it? It's not how much you make, it's how you make it. Which I think can be reflective of anything. You know, it's
Absolutely.
not how many friends you have, it's the quality of it, you know, and that just goes down to the principle of quality over quantity, for sure. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think we could keep talking forever.
I feel like we could. I'm like, it's already been an hour. I feel like we've just like barely brushed the surface of anything.
We're doing more episodes.
Obvi. Clearly.
And eventually, I know it's on your radar.
I think I know where you're going.
Mm-hmm. You want to do your own.
I do want to do my own.
I want to push her to do her own.
Yeah, that's it.
Because as you've heard, she has a hell of a story, and like that.
And we didn't even
we
cover,
did that.
Yeah, like
that much. Like that's it.
Like I have a lot of shit to say. I'm sure.
You have a lot of shit to say.
Depending on where we could get into it.
You have lots of opinions.
I do. I have lots of soapboxes.
Lots of experiences.
I have lots of weird experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
we could do a total strip club episode.
We could. That'd be interesting. I've never been to a strip club.
Well, we're gonna have to pop your cherry.
Oh, Jesus. But thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
It. Always a pleasure.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll do more episodes.
Great. I'm stoked.
Cool.